All right, we are live. We are live on all the platforms. Oh, wait a second. I need to do this just so we have the branding up. All right. Cool. Hey. So good to have y'all here. Cincinnati in the house. That's Drew is in the house. Let me know where you're coming in from. Yeah. Melissa is in the house. She has been here, I think, every single day. There's a few of you that I see. I think Drew's maybe missed one, but he's popped in on almost every single one. Allison's been here. Megan's been here. So this is cool. This is cool. Day number 8. We are here. We've got today. We've got 2 more days. And today's an interesting day. We're going to talk about decisions because here's what we know. Today's decisions can either be the chains that ground you or the wings that allow you to soar. Lisa Landy on LinkedIn coming in from Orlando. I'm going to be in Orlando. I'm flying there next weekend. I'm speaking in Nashville and flying in next weekend. So to Orlando. But yeah. I mean, realize this is that the choices you make with your money today are either going to be the chains that ground you or the wings that allow you to fly. The decisions you make around your finances and your money today should serve the future that you want tomorrow. And so what I want to do is really start to look at where we've been, then talk about, I'm going to give you another framework. I know, surprise. This is a core framework to some of the stuff that we teach. It's called the Wealth Priority Ladder. We'll talk about that. But remember, the primary focus of what we're trying to do here, yes, it's money. Yes, it's wealth. Yes, it's building that. But it is not absent. Building the richness in your life, how you experience life, how you have a life that is based on choice, that is based on options, and not based on just surviving, just getting by, or need. And so the reason we do this is for the critical outcomes, the 3 critical outcomes, which is first, a richer lifestyle, which is not the bank account. It's how we experience it, how we share it. The second is a deeper impact to see how we fully develop. We impact the people we serve, we impact the people we love, but also we impact the person in the mirror. How are we showing up? How are we building up? How are we doing the things that we're doing? Okay. So it's really about that deeper impact, because we can impact the people we serve. But if we don't have a positive impact on the people we love, the right and left, and the person in the mirror, then it's really not the deeper impact. And then the third critical outcome of the affluence blueprint is that it is complete freedom. We're talking about financial freedom here. But I got to tell you, financial freedom is the most rudimentary, basic freedom that we ask for. And it's actually not what we're looking for. See, we want the financial freedom because it gives us two other freedoms. The financial freedom allows us to have time freedom, the ability to choose, the ability to define what your time's going to be and how that time's going to be used. Time freedom. You've heard me say before that I think that your wealth should be measured in the amount of moments of time you control in your life. I could have $100 million in a bank account, but if I do not have the ability to control the moments in my life, it's still a poor life. I'm beholden to it. Okay? I'm chained to it. And the second freedom, so time freedom and mind freedom, peace of mind. Peace of mind. There comes a peace when you know that you're walking in alignment with your core values, with in congruence with the gifts that you were given to bring to the world, to know that you are doing the things that you are meant to do for the people you love, to know that you're behind the causes, the missions, and the movements that matter to you, to know that you can live your life, and as you get to those last days, you can look back and go, as the song says, "It my way. And I did it a good way." It is possible to do well while doing good. And so I don't want us to lose sight of that. As much as we're going to talk about money and what to do with your money in today's session, I don't want to lose sight of the reason we're doing it is to make sure that we are actually having the richest life possible. Okay? So I got a framework. I'm going to walk you through the framework and bring it up on the slides. For those of you that are on Instagram that can't see the framework, that's all right. I'm going to describe it to you and we'll walk through it. All right. Because, and why do I, some people say, well, why do you use frameworks? Here's why I use frameworks. One is it allows you to get a picture in your mind. Visual stimulus, it allows you to get a picture in your mind. It takes what can be complex and simplifies it. It allows you to create something that's memorable, that's valuable, that's usable. It will promote understanding and it'll promote action. That's why I use frameworks a lot. All right. And so let's talk about this whole idea of what I call the wealth priority ladder. And so let me just give you a for instance. Let's for a moment assume that you are going to hire 20 employees, okay? And you're going to hire 20 employees. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, a lot. LOL. Russell's seen them over and over again. So you hire 20 employees, you bring them in on their first day of work, you bring them into the conference room, you look at all of them and you say, here's the deal. I so appreciate you coming to work for us. Here's how this is. You will have noticed that during the hiring process, during the ad process, and now we've given you no job description. I'm not going to give you any goals. I'm not going to give you any metrics. I'm not even going to give you any guidance. But here's what we're trying to do. I want us to double our business in the next 24 months. Now, had you ever done that? Not that you would. And if you would, talk to me because we'll stop it right there. Do you really think you're going to double your business by bringing in a bunch of employees with no goals, no metrics, no guidance, no job description? Nope. Not a chance. So let me ask you something. Why do we do that with our money? Why do we do that with our money? Here's what I see. See, our money, our dollars, the money we earn, those are our employees. And so we get the paycheck. We grab the paycheck and we go, hoo-hoo, I got money. And what do? You put it in the account and you just start, I'm going to the restaurants. We're going out tonight. We're going shopping tonight. We're going, and all of a sudden you get towards the end of the month and you go, whoa, wait a second. I got a lot more month than I have money. Why? Because you didn't tell your money what to do. It told you what it wanted to do. You responded emotionally. We talked about emotions in finances. And so hopefully this kind of analogy hits home. Here's what we need to do. I have a dear, dear friend who says the time to get the map is before you go into the woods. Okay? It's the same thing with your money. The time to set the plan in place is before you earn the money. So my point being is that you're going to create a job description for every dollar you earn. Every dollar you earn. Here's the key. Before you earn it. And then you're going to follow a series of priorities to decide where that dollar is going to go. And when you do that on a regular basis, you will build wealth based upon your values, based on your vision, based on the plan, based on the strategy to move you down the path to where you want to be. Because otherwise, if you do not do that, you fall victim to this. Oh, look at that on Instagram. Hey, that's pretty good. Why not? I just buy it. And you swipe and you buy. I've done it. I am not exempt. Listen, y'all, I got a $900 coffee maker sitting in there in the kitchen because of swiping on Instagram. So I am not exempt from what can happen. But when we go astray and we do it regularly, that's when we find ourselves in debt. That's when we live beyond our means. That's when we find ourselves with credit card balances. That's when we sit back and go, I've got nothing saved. Okay? This is the thing that I want to work through. So the idea behind the wealth priority ladder is to sit back and say, all right, let's just talk about what you do with each dollar as it comes in. How do you build wealth? Remember, my job, my focus for folks is, I get it. Some of you might be in debt, and we'll talk about that. So some of you might be in a hole that you're trying to dig out of. And I get that. We'll get there. My job is to get you out of the hole, but really that's not my job. My job is to help you to build the mountain. And so I want to help you build the mountain. And sometimes some of you might have to dig out of the hole to start building the mountain, but we'll get you there. All right. All right. So here we go. I'm going to bring this up and we're going to start the journey down the wealth priority ladder or up the wealth priority ladder to do this. This is the process or the priorities you give to each and every dollar that comes in. The very first thing that you need to focus in on, to build, to make sure you have in place, the first thing, okay, the first thing is to make sure that you have something that we call the comfort fund. The comfort fund. Now, this is not your emergency fund. This is the, for lack of a better term, oh crap, got to break the glass. We had something unplanned. I need help. The transmission goes out, the air conditioning goes out. We have an unplanned medical expense, something that happens. Now, I get it. We'll talk about the emergency fund in a second. The reason I want this for you is to have the comfort of knowing that if some mishap happens, you're okay and you're not going into debt with it too quickly. And so the challenge is that most people don't do this. There is over 60% of the people surveyed say that they could not sustain themselves if they had $1,000 unplanned expense. Well, let's fix that. And we fix that with a comfort fund. Now, what's the comfort fund? I want you to get $1,500, or they are not the same. I'll get to it, Melissa. So the comfort fund is not an emergency fund. We'll get to it. This is simply to make sure that anything that goes wrong in the moment, you need medical deductibles paid for, transmission paid for, just something that is small. So I want $1,500 or 1 month's expenses. That's it. And you might look at me and go, how do I do that? I go, this is a dollar amount that I want in a high yield savings account put aside for you in case of an emergency. Now, when we build the emergency fund, or what I call the peace of mind fund, this will become obsolete. But at the very beginning, that's our target. $1,500, 1 month's expenses to start. Here's how you're going to do it. If you can't earn your way to it, you're going to sell your way to it. You're going to sit back and say, are there things that I can go and sell? Are there things that I can go sell? I can find them in my closet, the technology. I can find things that I'm no longer using, put it on Facebook Marketplace, see if I can sell it. Is there something that I can do temporarily to get that money in and put myself in a comfortable position so I'm not using the credit cards? Okay, so step one of this is to make sure that you have, don't get me started on the $900 coffee maker, all right? But it makes really good coffee. It really does. So is to make sure that you have the comfort fund in place. Now, once we get to done with the comfort fund, now we move to phase 2 of the wealth priority ladder. And phase 2, we're going to do 2 things at the same place, at the same time, okay? But the first thing I want us to talk about is this idea of getting rid of consumer debt, okay? Consumer debt. Now, destructive debt, if you will. I am not one of those people that says that all debt is the devil. I actually think that there's productive debt and destructive debt. Let's differentiate what they are. Destructive debt is the debt you go into for consumables. It's the debt you go into for lifestyle that you can't afford to pay for in cash. It's stuff that doesn't last. It's stuff that doesn't appreciate. It's stuff that doesn't cash flow. And it is stuff that you can't pay for on an ongoing basis. So you put it on a credit card. You finance it. That's destructive debt. It's the big screen TVs. It's that kind of thing. Okay. Productive debt is debt that you use to build your net worth and or increase your cash flow. So it could be the loan, the mortgage on a rental property that's going to appreciate in value and produce cash flow. It could be a loan against a piece of equipment that increases your efficiency or productivity. It could be putting your Facebook ads on a credit card that you pay for every dollar on an ad, you're going to make $2 on the sale. See, all of those raise your net worth or raise your cash flow. They're productive. Now, you can still be getting yourself in trouble if you don't do it correctly, but at least we have a way to do this. Now, whether it's productive debt or it's destructive debt, all debt has 2 characteristics we need to be aware of. All debt has 2 characteristics we need to be aware of. The first is that all debt costs. It costs us money. Call it interest. It costs us, and it is getting more costly, more expensive because of the higher interest rates. Credit card interest rates are approaching 30%. 30%. Mortgages were 7 and 8%. They're coming down a little bit. Okay. So all debt costs, even the good debt costs. And the second characteristic that all debt has is all debt stresses. it stresses you, it stresses your finances. The burden of the debt, the shadow of the debt, the fact that it exists will put stress on you even if you don't realize it. And I think it becomes really important for us to realize that no matter what kind of debt we have, it is going to cost and it's going to stress us. So what do we need to do with debt? At this level, what I want you to do is for your high interest debt and your destructive debt, I want you on a debt pay down plan. Okay? On a debt pay down plan. I want you to have a formal plan in place where you are trying to get out of that debt so you get out of it and you never go back. I have a tool. It's free. It's called the Debt Breakthrough Calculator. All you need to do is go to melabraham.com/no debt. You'll get an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Look, I'm a numbers nerd. I do Excel. All right. You'll get a short training on how to use it. And you're literally going to put all your debt in there. You're going to put the payments, you're going to put the interest, and then you can calculate the fastest way to pay it off, the most least expensive way to pay it off. It will spread it will spread the payments out so you know what to pay for what and when. But you get yourself on a formal debt payment plan, and you use the avalanche method or snowball method to get yourself out of debt and never look back. Okay. Now, some people will tell you that you should get out of debt and then you build your emergency fund, or then you start to invest. And and I'm going to tell you a little differently. I see your debt management muscle as a different muscle group than your wealth creation muscle. It takes a different mentality, it takes a different mindset, and it exercises a different set of muscles. It creates different habits. Okay. So what I want to do is, at the same time I'm digging out of the hole, I want to start building the mountain. Will it slow you down from getting out of debt? Absolutely, it will. Okay. But I want to develop the muscle in the process. Hang tight. Sorry about that. So here's the way we do this, is that at the same time you're considering getting yourself out of debt, I want you to think about this next piece of the wealth priority ladder. And that next piece of the wealth priority ladder is what we call the peace of mind fund. Some people will call it an emergency fund. This is money you're going to put into a high yield savings account. Most people will say 3 to 6 months. I actually, for years, have said 9 to 18 months. Average, call it 12 months. And the pandemic proved it out. And I was doing it way before the pandemic. Now, some people would say, oh, you're conservative. I am. But I want you to be safe. Liquidity is your friend in uncertain times. Liquidity is your friend in opportune times, because just the same as I have liquidity, I can do some other things. But in this case, I want it to be there for safety. And remember, I said each dollar has a job description. Some people will say, well, wait a second, cash is trash and you're only getting 5%. And if I invested, I might get 10%, or I might get 9% or 8%. I'm leaving percent on the table. Some dollars are to pay bills. Some dollars are to keep you safe. Some dollars are to grow your wealth. Everything is different. And we just need to know what the job description is and the task that we're assigning it is. So here's how I would play this for you. If I had $500 to put towards my emergency fund, my peace of mind fund, and my debt pay down, you decide how you want to allocate it. Maybe you're going to put $400 towards the debt and $100 towards the peace of mind fund. But the fact is that you're actually exercising both muscle groups, and you will bring this next stage and this next step into the game once you have one of those paid off. So you have destructive debt you're paying off, and you have a peace of mind fund you're building. Once the peace of mind fund is built or the destructive debt is paid off, now you'll move to the next stage. Okay. There is a process behind this. There is a system behind this, and it works. And the next stage is when you're going to start building your freedom fund. What's a freedom fund? All right. Here's the freedom fund. This is when you actually start investing beyond your peace of mind fund, beyond the debt pay down. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to start putting money away. My recommendation is 20 to 25% of your income is going to go into this. Now, it can be a combination of a lot of different things. It can be into a regular investment brokerage account. It can be into a 401k. It can be into an IRA. It can be into a Roth. It can be into a defined benefit cash balance plan. It is really important to start to look at it. And I say, like I said, 20 to 25%. I want you to front load your investments so time will do the heavy lifting for your wealth growth. Remember, wealth creation has what we call the wealth flat line. At the beginning, you're putting money in, putting money in, putting money in, putting money in. And like after 4 or 5 years, you look at it and go, I made $67. This is stupid. It doesn't get me anywhere. I'm not going to get wealthy on $67. Here's the challenge. Is that on the other side of the wealth flat line, as it builds, it starts to gain momentum. And then you hit the acceleration zone. And all of a sudden, it just boomerangs up. The problem is if you get impatient and you don't understand that you're in the wealth flat line and you decide to either stop or cash out, and when you start again, you have to go all the way to the start. Because the only thing that eats up the wealth flat line is time. We got to get time on our side. And so we'll start putting money into investments. And like I said, there's a lot of different investments. I'm going to do an episode coming up that'll actually break the order of the investments in. Because here, if you are working for a company that has a 401k and a match, one of the first things I want you to do is the first part of that investment, I want it to go to the match. I want you to get your company's free money. If they're going to match up to 4% of the money that you put in a minimum of 4% because you just doubled your money because they're going to match it. But too often we're all leaving money on the table. We're leaving the free money. If I came into your dining room as a house guest, don't invite me because this won't happen. Unless it's Monopoly. And I started hand dropping $100 bills on the floor. Y'all would pick it up, wouldn't you? Heck yeah. You're not going to leave $100 bills on the floor? Well, you're doing that if you don't get the company match. So there is a hierarchy when we get there that goes deeper than what we're doing here. I just want you to get the skeleton of understanding that there's a priority that works. There's a priority that builds. There's a priority that we can get to a building the wealth, building the mountain, if you will, to do that. So comfort fund first. Then at the same time, we're going to build our peace of mind fund and get out of destructive debt. Once we have one of those two problems solved, we start investing 20 to 25% into our future. And it'll be a combination of accounts, whether it's 401k, IRA, Roth, brokerage accounts, and other investments. So we can deal with that at another time. It's more than what I want to go through here. So that leads us to the next piece of the wealth priority ladder. And this piece is where we can then start looking at accelerating the pay down of our property debt, our mortgage. Okay. Now, let me be clear here. If you have a mortgage that is one of the older mortgages, I'm saying it's older, but it really isn't that much older. But like here, we have a 2.75% mortgage. Why am I paying that off? So I'm not going to accelerate the payment of that. Okay. I'm going to keep it, but I built a fund that gives me the capacity to write a check and pay it off. So I have the capacity to pay it off, but that fund is invested in a high yield cash account. So I'm making 5.5% paying 2.75 for now. but I have, and the reason I'm not investing it long term is because of my age. Because of my age. If I was 40, then I'd probably invest and let it run. But at 62, I want to make sure that I have that safe, because at some point in the next 2, 3, 4 years, I might pay it off and just get the debt off of me, because I want all of you to get into those years where you are completely debt free. And you have this big machine, the money machine, as we talk about it, that money machine working for you. All right. And we don't want to burden the money machine with debt, with a mortgage. So once we're funding 20%, 25% into our investments on an ongoing basis, we're just funding it. We're not at the number yet, but we know that we're putting 20% away. We can allocate it to start paying down the mortgage sooner, or getting yourself in a position to pay off the mortgage sooner. Okay. But if you have a high interest mortgage, then maybe we pay it off sooner. But if you have low interest, we might rethink how to do that, depending on age. Okay. Now that leads to this next piece. This next piece, okay, this one, this is a hot topic that's going to rub some people wrong, possibly. And this is when we start to pay or start to save or invest for our kids' future. Okay. And so this is really important for you to hear me. My belief is that you don't owe your kids paying for their college. You are not required to pay for their college. I get as a parent you want to do that. I get as a parent you would like to give them that future. Totally understand that. Now, that's not what I'm saying. I just want you to understand that the most important thing first is to take care of and make sure that you've taken care of your financial future first. Here's the thinking behind this. Your child may or may not go to college. Your child may or may not get a scholarship. Your child has multiple ways to figure out how to pay for their college education, including scholarships, including grants, including working, including a couple of different things. Your child should be involved in the process of getting into college, and know that they don't just get to sit back and say, well, mom and dad are going to pay for it. But they earn their way. If they want to go to a specific school, they earn their way through it. They earn their way to it. And they're not going to college just because they love the doggone mascot. All right? And here's why this is important. We don't know if they'll finish college. We don't know if they'll stay in college. We don't know if they'll go to college. They might go to a trade school. And you put everything in for them, and you put your stuff aside. Here's what we know. Your financial future is a certainty. It is coming. There will be a day where you don't work. There will be a day where you decide you want to retire. There will be a day. It is an absolute certainty. So what I want us to do is make that certainty the priority. That is why 20 to 25% goes towards you first before we think about the kids. Okay? Because one of the worst things you can do for your kids is you put all the money away, you pay for their college, they go get their social sciences degree. I hope no one else has a social sciences degree. And they come out with a ton of debt, and you spent all this money for this education, and now you get to your later years and you have nothing for your future. You have nothing built. You didn't build a money machine. And so what do? Your options to take care of yourself is one, government handouts. Good luck with that. Okay. Or two, you're knocking on your children's door and going, hey, you know that college I paid for? Because I paid for the college, I can't pay our bills. So I just want to move in with you. We don't want to do that to our children. We don't want to burden our children. Give them the gift of you being financially independent so they can be financially independent also. And so this is the thing that I look at, and why I believe that funding college is optional. And it requires us to have a conversation with our children. So we set expectations. We get them enrolled. We get them engaged. They get to know that they have some say in it, and they have to do something. Like even Jeremy, financially, I started doing things with him at when he was 10 financially. And then when it came to him getting a car, we're talking about him getting a car and all that. I said, I'll meet you halfway. Here's what you do. If you save money for the down payment, I'll match what you save. And when I first started with him and he was getting earned income and he was putting money in a Roth, I told him the same thing. I said, you put $1,000 in a Roth, I'll put $1,000 in the Roth for you. Okay. So I got his participation. I got him enrolled, engaged in the process. Now, originally, he wanted to go to film school. He wanted to go to USC for film school. That would cost me $250,000 plus. Good thing I got him. Good thing I got him to get bit by the entrepreneur bug, and he decided not to go to film school. So skirted that one. We would have paid for it. We would have been fine. But he needed to earn his way into it. He needed to have that appreciation. So this is my soapbox. And I believe that student loans should be avoided. Student loans should be avoided. Because now, avoided totally? No, I'll give you some leeway. Here's why. We got $1.7, $1.8 trillion in student loans. These kids are 18 years old. They go into a financial aid office. Oh, this is another soapbox. Don't get me going. Financial aid office, they don't understand money. They don't understand finances. They say, it's okay. We'll get you into school. We'll get you into school. You just need to sign here. And they sign on the line. You don't have to worry about it. 6 months after you graduate, then you worry about it. And so they keep taking on debt. They keep taking on debt. They don't understand money management. They don't understand the things that you're learning. They're not understanding any of that. And then they graduate. And as they're graduating, they say, congratulations, go soar, live your life, do the things you're supposed to do. Oh, by the way, before you go, hold on. I got a ball and chain I'm going to strap to your ankles. It's called your student loan debt. And they are getting choked to death. And they didn't realize it. So here's my premise. If you're going to have your kids get student loan debt, they only take debt to the tune of maximum 18 months of their starting salary. So if the kid is going to school and is going to get a degree that pays them $30,000 a year, the maximum loan they're going to get is $45,000. That's it. No more. Done. They got to find another way. Might have to go to community college. They got to do something else. They might have to work. But that will keep them from having the albatross around their neck when they graduate. There are people out there that have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt, and they're 59, 60, 61 years old. They're not getting out from under it, and they can't bankrupt it. It's a travesty. And I'll go here for a moment and I'll come back. All right. Part of it, I blame on the financial aid offices. Part of it, if you want to forgive debt, I don't believe in the debt forgiveness. We made a commitment, honor the commitment. It's the right thing to do. Now, if you're going to forgive it, you don't put it on the backs of the taxpayers. You put it back on the endowments of the colleges that duped them to get in there in the first place. Just saying. That's my opinion. Sorry. Got me going. All right. So college is optional. But at this point, if you want to fund their education, this is when you're going to do your 529 plans, a custodial Roths, things like that, but it's all optional. Okay. And then once you get there, you get to the top tier. And the top tier of the wealth priority ladder is to live the affluent life, to completely be generous, to live your legacy, and to pass not only your thoughts on the skill sets, the philosophy, the knowledge, and then you can pass the assets. You don't pass assets until you pass skill sets. That's the wealth priority ladder. That's how it goes, right? I hope that this makes sense, but the reality is this: you have to have a process. You have to have a process that allows you to say, oh, this money came in. What does it go towards? But you want to make that decision before you get in. You remember when we talked about investing, we did that, and I said, know your exit before you actually make the investment? Same thing here. Know what you're going to do with the dollar. Is it going to the comfort fund? Is it going to the peace of mind fund? Is it going towards my investing? What's it going towards before you earn the dollar? This is the pathway. The wealth priority is the pathway to build your money machine, to do it in a way that is responsible, effective, and efficient. Okay. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is simple. Okay. All right. I hope that this helps. I hope that you found this valuable. I'm going to open it up for questions. I did see some questions coming in, so let me jump to them. Some of these are on Instagram. Let me look at this. Where does higher maintenance house expenses fall? Emergency fund. So I didn't. It's in there, but here's the other piece of this. When you start to break down in investing and everything, there's a narrow sliver that you start to look at and say, are there things that I want to do? So we did a remodel at the house here. Okay. Contractors. Anyone ever done construction and contracting before? I think most contractors, I'm going to offend a whole lot of people. I probably shouldn't say this, but they're a special form, at least the contractors we hired, a special form of amoeba, a single cell organism, and it wasn't a brain. They literally, we had the whole thing white stuccoed, smooth coat like Santorini white. And we were having the black windows put in, and they told us to do the stucco first and then the black windows second. And the people that came in for the black windows, they were putting the black trim around it. They just thought that we were going to turn around and paint the stucco. They didn't think that it was already colored stucco. So what did they do? To get the black seal all over the white stucco, and you can't get it off. So once they got done with the windows, what did we have to do? Restucco the whole doggone thing again. It was a mess. When they did the roof, they put their foot through the ceiling. Then when they fixed it, they dropped the paint all over the balcony. It was, don't get me going. Oh, this one. But my point is that if you know you got to do things, you want to create a sinking fund. When we knew we were going to do the remodel, I said, we're going to pay for it in cash. So we spent the time and we put, part of the allocation of the money, we added another sliver in there and they said, this is for the house remodel. Okay. So we know if you own a home, there will be higher maintenance. There will be a required maintenance. So I would create a contingency sinking fund, high yield cash account, high yield savings account that is for those contingency. It might be $100 a month. It might be $200 a month, whatever it is, but I'm going to put it in there. You can use the emergency fund for it, but if I know it's coming up, it could be a remodel. It could be a down payment for a house. It could be a wedding. If I know that something's coming up, then it's actually not an emergency. Emergency is something that's unplanned. But if I know that I've got a wedding, if I know that I've got a specific vacation, if I know that I've got a remodel or something, then I think you plan for it. You put the money aside separately. And the peace of mind fund stays for only the things that are unplanned. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Great question, though. Let's see. Is there other questions? Anything else coming up? The $900 coffee maker, don't get me going. But it has an app to it. I can make my coffee from my phone. Yeah, I know. That was what sold me. I'm a tech dude, tech nerd. All right, let's see. Anything else in here? You guys are great. Thank you for putting up with me and my shenanigans. I'm one of those, took Parent Plus loans on all three of my kids, like 3 mortgages. Oh, Matthew. And the problem is Parent Plus loans, you're on the hook for it. You're on the hook for it. So there's really not a whole lot getting out of that in doing that. So, Do you suggest having multiple accounts for each fund, or should you have one account that you keep up separately? What is in each fund? Ziza is asking the question. It depends on your discipline. Okay. The easier thing is to put it all in one count, but then you need to account for it and not be tempted to dip into it. If I have my peace of mind fund in a high yield savings account and I have the down payment that I'm saving for the house in the same account, you need to make sure that you're tracking it separately and you know what's there and you don't use one for the other. Alternatively, if you don't have that discipline, then what I would alternatively, if you don't have that discipline, then what I would do is open up a separate account, get it out of sight, out of mind. Okay, out of sight, out of mind. Okay? I am so resistant to hiring contractors. Never know how long they will be disrupting. Oh my God, my wife. She's like, when are they going to get out of the house? I'm going. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you. I love my side story. I love doing this. Hopefully you get this. I love serving. I love making a difference. I hope that you're finding it valuable. We've got a couple of days of this, but we're going to continue. We're going to continue. I'm going to bring back my money mentoring coffee chats. I don't know if it's going to be private in Zoom or if we're going to do it open like this yet. It won't. It'll probably be in February. I'm traveling a bit the next week or 10 days or so, speaking and stuff. So, but I'm here. I ain't going anywhere. What's the monthly budget? What is the monthly budget fund? How to establish the level you can live at? Tell me more about this question. I'm not sure I understand the context of it. Tell me more if you can kind of give me an idea on this. Let me just see. Mine was an espresso machine. I know those can get like $3,000-$4,000. So Lisa says, I missed what you said to do with the $1,500. Where do you recommend you place it? So the $1,500 is a temporary amount until you build your peace of mind fund. But so both of them will be in the same high yield savings account. That's where I would put it, Lisa. Okay, that's where I would put it. Let me see other questions. Melissa says, I don't have a peace of mind fund. We're going to get one. We're going to build it. Uh-oh, I'm out of order. We'll fix it. Where do you fit into the dollar allocations, buying a car, buying a house, eating out? That's a whole, so what we're talking about here in the wealth priority ladder is building the money machine. When you start this building of the money machine, before that, what's going to happen is you're going to get a paycheck from work, or you're going to take a salary from your business, and you're going to get this money. Now, if it's a paycheck and you have a 401k, some of it will go to the 401k, but you get this net check. It's going to go into the bank account. In that bank account, there's a separate thing that you're going to need. This is the wealth priority ladder, what to do as a priority, but there will be what we call a cash resource plan that literally is your budget. So you know that from that money that comes in, you're going to have a portion of it that's going to pay for your needs, wants, desires, and everything. So you're going to pay some expenses from it, your mortgage, your rents, and all of that stuff. So the net check comes in, you're going to pay some of the expenses, but you're going to have this amount left over, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is. They're going to use that to build up the wealth priority ladder. So don't confuse the wealth priority ladder with the budget. A budget or a cash resource plan is different, and it is part of it. So there'll be money coming in, and a portion will go to your current living, and then this portion is going to go to building your financial future through the wealth priority ladder. Okay? Hopefully that helps. And just so we're clear, if you really want to understand this, one of the first things I would do is take 6 months of your bank statements, 6 months of your credit card statements, figure out where you're spending your money. Mark the things on there that are needs, your survival. That's all needs are. Your survival. The food, the clothes, the transportation, the roof, and the health. That's it. Anything else? That's a want. You may not like that, but it's a want. Netflix is a want. Manny's Petties is a want. Okay? Technology is a want. $900 coffee machine. That's a want. All right? It's not a need. All right? So you want to look at your needs. Your needs should be no more. It should be less than 50% of your budget, of your cash resource plan. That means that you will have 50% of the money coming in that can go to these other things. Okay? At this point, I'm only window shopping at the grocery store. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, look, eggs and everything got so doggone expensive. It's crazy. I went into Costco. I did have a list. I literally went in there because I make a shake every morning and I put frozen blueberries in there, organic blueberries, and I get it from Costco. They're frozen. And I put a whole lemon, peel and all in there. And I put bananas in there, half a banana. Okay. So I get it at a Costco. So I literally went to Costco to get frozen blueberries, bananas, and lemons. That's it. By the time I was through, I walked out of there $250 later. And just so you know, I did not buy $250 worth of blueberries, lemons, and bananas. Ugh. Oh. And it was so expensive. So it's like, oh my God. So, and then you feel guilty and you got to eat it all. So you got to be careful. All right. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. Tell me any other questions, anything else that you've got that we want to talk about. We've got a couple more days coming up. If you haven't seen some of the other sessions, I want you to be able to go see them. I have them all on a replay page. You can get to the replay page by going to melabraham.com/momentum. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, you can just type the word momentum in. We'll send you the link. And that replay page will be up for a little while. Then it's going to go away. But in the replay page, you'll see that the video's there from the training, and below it is a download link to download a worksheet specific to the prompt for that day. It's all there. Okay. Like I said, ain't nothing to sell. I got nothing for you to sell. I want to sell you on your dreams. I want to make sure that this is a money reset for your financial future. I want this year to be a breakthrough year for you financially, for you, your family. I want you to become the inflection point for your family tree. That point where your great-great-grandkids are going to look back and they're going to go, Melissa, great-great-grandmother Melissa, she changed the game for us in the family. It's because of her. You get a chance to be that for your family if we do this right. I want us to be here 12 months from now to look back and go, you know what? We made a difference. We made a dent in this past 12 months. We've changed our financial destiny in this past 12 months. It can be done. It may not be easy, but the principles are simple. The process takes discipline. The process takes it. This is why I'm methodically taking these micro exercises, these micro steps with you to guide you. And you don't have to, here's the beautiful thing. If money was a lonely journey for you, if money was an isolation or siloed thing, if money was something that you couldn't talk about, wouldn't talk about, scared to talk about, unknown how to talk about, that is over for you. You're here now. We're going to have open conversations. It's safe. It's fine. It's vulnerable. It's the right thing to do. Let's talk about it. Let's walk through it. You no longer have to do this alone. You no longer have to do this alone. And I got a whole lot more coming in store for you for this year. It's not just this and done. I've got the book coming out. I've got other trainings. We did some more recording of content that's coming out on YouTube and on my podcast. So stay in the game. And for those of you, bring your friends along. Do the journey with them. Let's create this swell of activity so you all are winning together. That's how we do this. That's how we do this. We don't walk through. I don't buy into this. I see it all the time. They're a self-made millionaire. They're self BS. Ain't no one out there self-made. The rich life that I live today, the blessed life that I live today, isn't because I'm self-made. I am who I am. But I don't disregard you. I don't get to do the things that I love to do if you weren't here. The people that served me, the people that supported me, the people that mentored me, the people that kicked me in the rear end, the people that screwed me over, that got me to learn. I don't believe that there is something greater at work here than me. So for me to have the lack of gratitude or the ego to say self-made, hell no. Look, I had customers that hired me. I had customers that bought from me. There's no self-made. So we're on a journey of life and humanity that's together, financial or otherwise. We're all connected. We're all one. We're all in this conversation. So, all right. Do I have an affiliate link for the coffee maker? I wish. No, I don't. So, all right. Any last questions before we close this one out? Listen, if you have questions, post them here. If you have questions, reach out to me. This, like I said, this doesn't end. We're going. You know, we're going, and we're going to keep going together. All right. I see the same names up here over and over again, which warms my heart because that means you're on a journey. That means you're taking it seriously. That means that we do this right 12 months from today, your life will never be the same again. All right? All right, y'all. As I always say, until we get a chance to see each other on another live, another episode, another down where I'm speaking or anything like that, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the journey. Thank you for blessing me with the time in your life, the entrance into your life, and also always strive to live a life that outlives you. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. 8 o'clock, we're going to drop a post. 4 o'clock, we'll be live. Let's rock and roll. Let's keep this going. All right. Talk soon.